as you push that button up. It is.
What should we say?
Test, A, B, C, D,
You guys are all supposed to talk real loud.
Come on, somebody say something.
Using a tape recorder can be a big bother.
Speaking to the microphone, please.
As simple as, or even easier than, playing a record.
Slowly turn the dial through its full tone range.
Listening to WTFM with a We reinvented tape recording.
Tuned to this radio station today.
You will not hear true reproduction on any high-bias cassette. Not the first play, not the 1000th.
It's not just a cassette. It's a little music machine that delivers the best sound for its size.
But after 1,000 plays, can the same cassette still shatter a glass?
Die Kassette mit der besten Höhendynamik im Test.
Tell me, do you love me?
Oh, God, this is hell. I'm in a living hell. The worst night of my life yesterday.
Select from many makes and models. Complete sort of selection.
Get chewed up and worn out. They were abandoned in the digital age. To the naked eye, a compact disc looks like silver.
Compact discs are now the format of choice, with the sales figures to prove it.
I think we might be seeing the end of the cassette within the next few years.
Tape day. The hell is that?
Aha. Allee, ik ken het nummer niet en daarom zag ik niet wie dat was. Ja.
Hoe jong ben jij nu?
Huh? Ik ben 88.
Ja, dan ben je toch een jaartje ouder dan ik. Ik word in november 87.
Ja.
En hoe gaat het met je gezondheid goed?
Ik klaag niet. Ik heb niet veel te klagen, nee. Behalve dat ik oud word. Maar ik heb deze week met andere dingen aan mijn hoofd en ik heb een Amerikaan op bezoek. Die maakt een film over de cassette.
Oh, wat leuk, over de kleine cassette.
Ja.
Want ja, die hadden we nooit vrij moeten geven, hè.
Nou ja, dat was geen succes geworden.
De Japanners hebben met die cassette hun Walkman gedaan, hè?
Ja, precies.
De eerste Walkman, en daar hebben ze er echt veel van verkocht.
Ja, nou wij hebben er ook veel verkocht hoor.
Ja, ook nog met cd's, ja.
Ja. Frans, bedankt voor de uitnodiging. Ik bel terug. Hè?
Ja, afgesproken.
Dag hè, de groeten.
Tot het beste, ja.
Dag. The problem begins at the moment that we introduced the cassette. A year after our introduction, there came a lot of imitations in Japan. And then we said, well, gentlemen, if you want to imitate our cassette, you better make a standard, because without a standard, it gets a mess in the whole world. And that worked. That's the reason that it didn't become obsolete too early. But it's taken 50 years to die.
Practical.
Testing.
Now what? Press record first. Our first song is I Write the Song.
Live and direct, Funky Freshman 93.
Right, Bob?
The music industry has changed radically in our lifetime, and with it has changed the value of music. Now it's just this thing that you just download. So you're listening something served to you from some cloud, something out in the ether, but you can't touch it. So what stays the same is analog. It always sounds good to the ear, and it's what's left of humanity meeting music.
The farther away I feel, the closer you get. The farther away I feel.
The digital realm is not moving parts. It's its own thing. It's fantastic for what it is, but I am not inspired by it at all. It's like film is better than digital recording. No offense, what are you recording at?
Where do you think I'd be without the cassette? That's how Sub Pop discovered me. Here was the cassette. You could send it to somebody. You could put music on it. You could record your voice on it. You record anything you want on it.
These are just the tapes that were on top of my boombox. The pile never ends. I'm just glad it's a small bag. Dante Gabriel Rossetti has a sonnet that begins, "A sonnet is a moment's monument." And it's funny because a sonnet doesn't do that for me. I love sonnets, but cassettes are what do that for me.
I think objects become obsolete when we have figured out what we consider better ways to do something. It's a hard question though, because what is better?
Young trees here. I think it's a birch, but there's quite a lot. It's a plague. It's not easy.
We live in a time where things are becoming obsolete faster than perhaps ever before. There's always a newer, better version, whereas not so many years ago, the value of something was how well it was going to hold up against the clock.
When your time has gone, it's time to disappear. If there are better products than cassette, well, then you stop. I don't believe in eternity. That's the basic thing. And the crazy thing, it's not yet over, huh? Still, all those crazy people are working with cassettes. Now it's nostalgia, more or less. People prefer a worse quality of sound out of nostalgia.
Oh yeah, there they are. So when we first did our tapes 7 years ago or 8 years ago, people just said, why? Why are you doing that? I don't have anything to play it on. Do you not want me to listen to your music? I think they probably thought it was some strange art project that probably wouldn't last very long, but it turns out it's probably the most dedicated cause that I've ever focused on in my life.
I got 3 copies, one to stock, one to rock, and one to swap. Having multiple copies is what it's all about, you know? I really love this. Look at this. You can't read the credits on the back of an MP3. You know, those are things that are kind of lost today, you know, with this push button, you know, fast-paced world.
Hit the ground faster than you want to. Hit the gas, you can only live to die. Straight away, hit you like a robot. Straight away, fearing you're a loser. Play it safe, so it's got you turned on. Safe face, stop one around you.
Yeah, I'll work for the camera. Okay, it's for you, baby.
As far as like cassettes coming back, a lot of people don't understand it. I usually just tell them, hey, we've sold 100,000 cassettes in the last 5 years. And they're like, really? And I say, yeah.
But who's counting?
Me.
I think from an older crowd, you get this like, what? You have tapes? You know, they think it's kind of funny. Seems like this thing that you kind of thought had gone away. And it's cool to see it reemerge.
So here I have a picture of my 25 years of service in the company, where I got offered a ceramic plate. This is the man who is responsible for the whole mechanism of the cassette recorder. He's deceased already. This is Lucien de Vogelaar. He's still alive and kicking, yeah.
You're not a nostalgic person, are you?
Not, no. The only thing I'm nostalgic about is the people I have been able to work with. That's a kind of nostalgia. Here is a photo of an enormous cassette. I think it's about 6 feet high or something.
And where is that cassette right now?
I made it in pieces and threw it away. I'm sorry, but it's the past.
This is a recording. If you will be kind enough to leave a message, including your name and phone number,
I love you.
we will return your call as soon as we
We
get
just want to wish you a Happy New Year. I'll talk to you in 1991.
I heard you weren't feeling good, Daddy says. What's the matter?
First time you're telling somebody, listen.
If you would have told me, I would have made you a pot of soup.
I appreciate that.
This tape was actually made 15 years ago today. It was a beautiful late summer day. I can tell you what chair I was sitting in when I made the tape. I can tell you what the afternoon light was coming through the window when I was making it. I can tell you what it was like to walk around Charlottesville, Virginia. I walked down Sunset Road Extended. I walked through the woods. I stopped at the Taco Bell, for a snack. I can retrace all the steps. They are part of listening to this music. These songs in this mix, it's saving that day, that moment. It's different because I put that music onto that piece of plastic. Changes the music, changes the day, and that's just one tape. And as you can see, here, there are a bunch of them.
Damn, what's there? Damn, that's an old AD spine. Yeah, I love this stuff. At one point, I had like $15 as like a 4th grader, and you're like, whoa! And I went to People's Drugstore where they had the cassettes and like the guns or whatever, the behind the glass box. They had some factory-made cassettes. And the woman said, can I help you? I was like, and I was scared. I was like, I want that one. And I just pointed at the live Grand Funk Railroad double cassette, package. And the other day I actually heard something from that record. I was like, ah!
My earliest experience with hearing recorded hip-hop wasn't Rapper's Delight. It was actually a cassette of flashes on the beatbox going, flashes on the beatbox going. And like if you knew that cassette, if you owned it, if you knew it by heart, then you weren't just like, oh, I like this new rap thing. Like, it was like, oh, you were really down.
You make intermittent trips to New York, and it was like, like some kids would go to get drugs, and some kids go to meet girls or get comic books. And it would be like, I'm going to get a mixtape. And it's like, I got like 10 new Kid Capri, Ron G, whoever mixtape. And it was like the dopest thing ever.
As you listen to my voice and the way I produce, make you wanna feel just like bustin' loose. As you float across the ocean, you may feel my drift, but you never heard me rhyme like
We were able to record our shows, record parties. People were able to go back and say, yo, remember this party? Hi, what party? Press play. Oh.
You already know once again, mixtape King Ron G. I'm on a roll, y'all. I'm in control, y'all. Instead to rock is a part of my soul, y'all. I'm on a roll, I'm in control.
Without cassettes, people wouldn't have the memory of last night. You gotta think about that.
Probably the first time that I put music to a piece of medium was with a cassette. I think the song was called Infected Pastrami. Yeah. Run real fast, run to your mommy, here it comes after you. Infected pastrami or some terrible shit like that. I mean, I think I was 16 or 15. And it was done on a cassette player.
A little nervous. Oh, there it goes.
I think I was 16 or 17. It's me singing. Let me die. No. Wow. What's going on with me? This is a pretty good example of my background compared to what I do now. That's like where I came from.
In about 1979, my sister and I were up in Connecticut. She said, hey, do you want to go to New Haven to see the Ramones? And it was this friend of my sister's and this guy who was kind of punky. And I think he's European. Something about him seemed a little European. He said, let's listen to some music, and he pulled out a tape. It was decorated. Like the tape was decorated. Put the tape in, and a song by one band would play, and then a song by another band would play, and then a third song by a third band would play. This blew my mind. It was as if I was being schooled in a way that I had never been schooled before about the possibilities of a medium.
This is Grandma Cole. How are you today, sweetheart? I decided that maybe it was time to make you another tape. And the first part of this tape will be music.
I think the definition of nostalgia is from the Greek for going home. But for me, nostalgia is a sort of wistful way of thinking about something that happened, something that mattered, in a way that's sort of both painful and pleasurable.
This is the Cassette factory. Here's the car of the top manager, that was I. It's a black Citroën.
Was that the building where the cassette was invented?
Yeah, because we built this in 1960, brand new laboratory.
So when did they close that Hasselt branch?
Maybe 10 years ago.
The cassettes are time travel, right? If forever, like, God forbid, the day would come that, like, I don't remember the secret stars, or I don't remember the raincoats, or I don't remember the softies, I'll be able to, like, go through a shoebox of these tapes and go, like, yep, this, I remember this, I will not forget this. These moments that would otherwise be, like, lost in time, like tears in rain.
We are on our way. These guys asked for a meeting. These Eindhoven guys. Huh?
And each of those guys played a role in the cassette?
Yeah. The people who really did the development are mostly dead. It's really happening, huh? Pukkelpop. 2 years ago there was a storm and the whole thing collapsed. I'm afraid it's the same sort of weather now.
Did they have this when you were younger?
No. Absolutely not.
How would you describe the music that comes out on Burger?
It's just
Stuff we love.
flavorful,
Yeah.
juicy, good time, rock and roll and beyond. It's not just rock and roll. I mean, it's punk and funk and rock, whatever, man. Crunk, hip hop.
We've cranked it up.
Yeah, there's things I don't even know what you call them. It's just music.
We want to open people's minds to different kinds of music and like show them that Britney Spears is punk and like change their minds about the Bee Gees and on whatever format floats their boat. Some people love cassettes and that's like their thing, you know?
Dit was nog een rondrit uit Stadttheater van Verdi, aufschlürfen von durstigen Zügen, das Gesangwerk so wieder streifen.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Well, On my far right is Mr. Lucien de Vogelaar, who did in the 60s the planning of the whole development operation. The next is Billy Leenders. In recent years he has been occupied a lot with the history of the factory. And at my side is Hugo van Anderrooyen. He was in charge of the industrial design for the cassette.
When we exactly started with this one,
Yeah.
I don't know.
When?
1 year, what jaar?
63.
52?
63.
63.
The first presentation was on the
63.
Funkausstellung.
I have a lot of drawings with me. Are you interested?
Type nummer 9146. AG 9146. Ken ze allemaal.
Nou, ik ben blij dat ik die heb.
Dat is goed gegaan, dat ding.
En lief?
Dat ding liep goed.
Ja. Wij maakten dus normaal spoelrecorders, horizontaal. Dan op zekere morgen riep onze baas, Lou Ottens, ons bij elkaar. En Ottens zegt, ik heb gisteren zo gefrunnikt met die stomme spoelrecorder. We moeten iets anders gaan maken. Hij zei, we moeten iets maken dat heel compact is, dat je gemakkelijk kunt meenemen en dat het spoeltje in de cassette zit. Zo is het eigenlijk begonnen. Het idee is eigenlijk van Lou.
De legende die daar gedistilleerd werd, en die is natuurlijk niet zo vriendelijk voor Lou, dat is dat de cassette geboren is uit de onhandigheid van een heel slimme man.
Zou het gewoon ons op bier moeten zetten.
The black tape is some type of a high bias. This particular tape is, it should smell bad. It should smell like carbon black. We got a shipment one time, and everybody who walked back here talked about how bad this area smelled, and it was just good tape. And it came in, and it had a powerful odor to it, and the whole room smelled like good tape.
Audio cassettes came on in the early 70s for us. The Ampex representative came in one day with the first audio cassette I'd ever seen. And he showed me that, and he said, this is going to be a really big thing in the future. And I looked at it, and with my normal foresight, I said, no, it won't. That's a toy. Nobody's going to want that. It looks like it should go in a doll.
Chem's in the 60s. I think Philips developed it. Before that, tape recordings were reel-to-reel stuff. I remember my father giving me a little one. But it was a mess, man.
Problem is, it was not consumer friendly. It was not foolproof. We more or less are all fools. I'm a fool when I use the equipment.
This is a reel of recording tape. For years, people have been threading it, spilling it,
tangling with it, and sometimes breaking it. This is the compact cassette. Up to 90 minutes of tape you don't have to tangle with. It won't break or spill or get on your nerves. Another nice thing, it's portable.
Hip-hop emerges largely out of New York, that is itself a Pan-African center of the world. Before radio, before video, a lot of rap music was disseminated on mixtapes, and that became the lifeline of hip-hop.
Cassettes didn't play a role in hip-hop in the early days. Cassettes were hip-hop.
Well, it's HBI, and you better believe that with the son of vampire on the ways to eat, it's guaranteed to be the sound that you all enjoy, because you know the Prince of Charm is the real McCoy. So sit back while you listen to the Zulu beat, and if you feel good enough, you can...
Rap music that extended from the hip-hop culture was being spreaded through cassette tapes. And that's when we had the boxes. The radio boxes that we used to carry up and down all throughout the inner city, quote-unquote, the ghetto.
Bambaataa, Theodore, Flash, you know, Charlie Chase, all the great early DJs, like they're only playing vinyl. Unless you were there, the only way you were hearing that show or that set or that party was via cassette.
This wasn't high fidelity audio scene. And I kind of like that in a way. There was something very punk rock about it. And there was something very punk rock about early hip hop anyway. It was really correlative.
Everyone had one of those single speaker Norelco rectangular cassette decks. And you could stand it up, aim it at your band, and record something crazy and play it back. A portable audio to record and play opened up minds.
Victor, if you're there, don't pick up yet. I've got this new song I'd like to sing for you.
I remember that night in the city garden where those abandoned buildings stood around us. We were talking about changes.
I haven't played in a long time, and I guess you can tell, can't you?
In het begin, mensen die wat geluiden gingen opnemen, het eerste woordje van een baby of vogeltjes in het bos. Het is pas echt een revolutie geworden dat men muziekcassettes ging maken.
Commercieel willen ze dat er gepatenteerd wordt, dat we patenten nemen. Lou zegt nee. Al die het wil maken, mag het maken, maar we eisen een bepaalde kwaliteit en een standaard. Als hij van in het begin een apparaat koopt, kan hij dat blijven gebruiken. Als hij een 10-jarige cassette koopt, kan hij nog altijd op dat eerste apparaat dat gebruiken. Eén apparaat, één standaard, één muziekdrager.
A thing with unlimited possibilities for recording and playing back music. The spoken word, any sound. That's why
It was all about being able to sort of do something that was within your means. For me to do a record, it would have cost hundreds of dollars or something, you know, and I just didn't have that kind of money.
With the right act, I should say the right type of person, putting music onto cassette tape is a perfectly valid choice. Cassettes are something that are shared, that tend to come out of collectives who are creating music because they love it, not because they're kind of striving for some big success within music.
There's a politic and a philosophy behind an interpersonal exchange in the street versus downloading something online. There's something about community there, and there's also something about the offline, unsanctioned, outside of state surveillance exchange that we're losing.
There's always been the idea of the gatekeeper, the toll booth, the provider, you know, the middleman. You know, the idea of being able to record your own cassettes, I think, was very powerful.
I'd like to thank Warner Brothers, Capitol, MGM, and RCA for letting this tape be possible.
13 goblins went up and down, 13 goblins went up and down, 13 goblins went up and down.
You can smile down with a happy ending to my song. I come knocking at your door. You don't live there anymore. Is it just a memory? Or am I a little crazy for you? There's no love, I just can't believe it.
When I was first in Austin and I had those tapes, anybody that looked like they were interested in music at all, even the slightest, yeah, they were cheap, you know, and I could make copies myself. And then after it was all over, and I really didn't have anything left, you know, I had this tape of Hi, How Are You? And I got it published. If I hadn't had the cassette tape, I'm sure it would have end up in a mental hospital, you know, and gone within a year or two or something, or escaped on the road, or what other alternatives did I have, Marge?
There's no other medium that we understood, but the cassette was the go-between to where you could make music, because you're not going to go into a studio, can't afford it. What, you bring your gear in and they record you? That was like this mountain.
The average citizen can't record an LP. He could not record an 8-track, but he could record a cassette. That's the point, right there.
Zelfs mogen die tekeningen wel weg. Dat even zitten met een opmerking.
Now we expected it would be a success, but not a revolution.
Nee, dat is niet wat ik zou beter niet zeggen. Het is wel eens
Ja, nou komt ja. Do you remember the first thing you invented as a kid?
I was always playing with Meccano.
What is that?
That's the first construction building toys.
Do you think you still have those somewhere?
Yeah, I'll show it.
When people say that you invented the cassette, do you take credit?
I can be credited for the idea, and I have a number of ideas in it, but the draftsman, the electrical designers and the industrial designer, they have done the work. I have done nothing special.
Isn't a friend someone that loves you and somebody you love? Somebody you can just tell anything you want to?
How about Peter? Peter had a and couldn't keep her.
I would like to let you know that you had just heard half of this tape. I hope you enjoy the rest, and thank you.
Is it good? Okay.
This is an article I wrote about the 50th anniversary of cassette tapes back in 2013. The man who invented the compact cassette tape doesn't remember what was recorded on the very first one, but he does remember what came next. Here I was calling him up to have this sort of nostalgic conversation about the 50th anniversary of this thing he had invented that had changed the world, and I was going to write this whole article about it. And he had a little bit of that nostalgia for this time in his life, but he was totally not nostalgic at all about the technology that has sort of gone away. You know, maybe if you invented it, it would seem like it belonged in that part of your life.
How are you doing? Are you ready for that? Yeah. Is that okay?
What happens then? It's a road movie. Not yet the right way, but maybe somewhat further. It's incredible, the number of types. You put a stack of cassettes here in, and then it plays and transports them back. The changer has never been a big success, I think. This is the first radio with a built-in cassette recorder.
So that was the first boombox.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first one. Normally, I'm more interested in the future than in the past.
Yeah, I don't know to what extent any of this is going to survive as we move to the digital era. If not obsolete, the value will be in archiving a history and memorabilia. Although it may become important again in terms of reviving and sustaining underground, unsanctioned communication.
If you want a tape, it's because you want a physical copy.
It's not something that happens at a touch of a button. It's something that happens at a touch of two buttons, which is record and play at the same time.
We hadn't put a record out in 3 years, so our label decided to release our album on a tape this year. CD seems to be a little more phased out, and the tape is something that, you know, they're starting to do more of. And they said the tape has been selling more than anything right now.
It's not like record store day where I actually camp out. I've camped out 12 hours for records. But cassette store day, it's not big enough. It's like the 3rd year or so. Hold on, let me turn this off. The ones I got today, I went by the cover only. They were just really cool. They're just really cool covers. I grew up with cassettes. I grew up poor in the Bronx with an older sister. Just got the hand-me-downs, and we were always a couple years behind in technology. Like, I also have an obsession for zines, records, patches. It was that or drugs. It was one of the two things. Like, my dad doesn't get it at all. My mom, she's like, she gets it. She's like, you like it? Do it. But he's not into that. He's like, that's stupid.
Have you put out any tapes?
Oh, yeah.
What's it called?
Chopped cheese. It's a sandwich in the Bronx.
Does this increase in sales mean we're witnessing a cassette resurrection?
Record stores around the country are pressing rewind for the first ever cassette store day.
Hiya, welcome to Cassette Store Day, if that's why you're here at Rough Trade. If not, then hi, it's Cassette Store Day.
Who out there is buying cassettes?
Why seems like something that's trying to piggyback on the success of Record Store Day.
So who came up with the idea of Cassette Store Day?
Yes, I take credit for the idea.
And responsibility.
And it was a shit idea anyway.
We got a ridiculous response when we kind of announced it online. The question that kept coming up was, so a cassette's going to overtake CDs and vinyl? And it's like,
no,
that's not the point of the day. We're not trying to save the format to the point where it becomes this huge thing and the future goes completely backwards. Like, it was just to celebrate the format that we love and that we still release on.
Yeah, I think lots of people, including my mother, probably thinks, cassettes, really?
Here's some good news for those of you waxing nostalgic right now. Cassettes have not gone away.
What is it about audio cassettes that makes them so popular still? Is there something more than just this idea that people want to be retro?
When you make cassettes, you can catalog little moments of culture. Like, I can't walk into a building with like a trench coat and have vinyl, but I can have tapes in my pocket, tapes in my backpack, and there's been so many times where I've just loaded up tapes in a bag and headed out to a show. Those are my favorite nights.
It's like I'm on acid. This is so good.
Do you like tapes? No, no one likes tapes? Oh, jeez, I'm sorry.
artifact might die with whatever's digital. You're not gonna go look in a shoebox and find all like digital files to look at.
The cassettes I never can keep in stock, besides like goth and metal, are hip hop and oldies. As soon as I put them out, they're gone. There's just like all these bizarre cassettes that I find. They're like my secret gems that I don't know how to display yet. Concerto for astronauts. Who doesn't want this? Got some sports rap, up-and-comers, a porn soundtrack cassette. Sometimes I've heard like really, really awesome cassette conversations between customers downstairs. Like one guy goes to this other guy, he's like, how many cassettes do you have? He's like, oh, at home? I don't know, like probably like 100, 200. He's like, huh, I've got thousands. He was like the cassette lord and he was in my presence. It was cool.
The profit that we make from these financially is about the profit that we make from the emotional value these things carry.
Hello. Just dropping these cassettes off.
I want to create a physical, tangible object that I can share with somebody and that maybe they can enjoy some of the experience that I do with other people's records.
I started a punk band and I made a cassette. We made them ourselves. We got the covers printed across the street at the copy place. Like it was a pretty cheap way to do it all. I don't think we have any more left. We also have the same thing, just like on a CD. Doesn't sell.
You'd think the rise of streaming audio would mean that hard copy music formats would just be, you know, over.
Tapes are making an unlikely comeback.
Tape sales are up 79% from last year's
主流に戻ってくるのでしょうか。それとも単なるヒップスター現象なのでしょうか。
Why is it that cassettes won't stay dead?
We found a company in Springfield, Missouri that in 2014 made more than 10 million cassette tapes.
In 2000, we saw a downturn, and a lot of our competitors started pulling in their horns, going out of business. The companies who built our equipment are all gone, and we have to make our own parts and be self-sufficient now. And I think that's the secret to our survival.
All I wanted was a job, you know. And I told my son on the phone that I found a job, and he said, Mom, he says, that's not going to last. He says, you need to find something else. I said, no, I said, I really think I'll like this. And here it's 11 years later. We did books on tape. We did a lot of gospel tracks. It's more individuals now for duplicated tapes. I listen to the beginning of it and the end on both sides and check for tone and its music, you know, but it's not the music I grew up with. It's not what I'd call country music. It might be today's country music, but I'm not into that.
Who's buying? Who's buying tapes?
I don't know. People on the internet.
People on the internet are buying tapes? No, mostly it's kids. I would say our age range is probably from like 13 to... No, 13.
I mean, I don't know. How do we know how old people are online?
I don't know. Just from seeing our fans and things and people who come to shows. Maybe like,
I feel like
14 to 30 or...
I'd say that, I don't know.
15 to 30 or so.
No,
and older and younger, I don't know.
Kids of all ages, I don't know.
Yeah.
From a commercial point of view, it's really very, very niche. Vinyl, for example, which everyone talks about, you'd think, you know, we're tripping over for vinyl the way people discuss it sometimes. I think still only accounts for less than 2% of the overall recorded music sales in this country. Cassette is way below that.
In terms of what cassettes, what their place is today, I don't know. But I make music for the people. And that's a boutique item.
It's the same reason why people go back to vinyl. It's like, because it's, you know, because it sounds better, you know, or it's all because we're unoriginal. That's why the cassette's coming back in, because everything has been done now.
Either you get it, or you respect it, or you don't, you know? I've gotten laughed at and shit, you know? Like friends of mine, they're like, dude, nah, man, that shit ain't gonna come back, or well, why would you even listen to that shit now?
If somebody explicitly said, you're an idiot for releasing music on cassette tape, then I would say nothing. And I think I would take my headphones and I'd put them back on, press play, and fuck off in the other direction.
Sometimes I wonder if people are just trying to be difficult, you know, do cassette releases. Having said that, I still have a cassette player in my car. I have a CD cassette player, and God forbid, I mean, if I have to buy a new one, it's gonna be a sad day. They're getting very hard to find. And I don't really see any reason to put out music on a format that you can't play.
Yeah, here's a... The song in the wrong direction. One of the very first cassettes. After 500 pieces production, we changed the track position. It's incredible. It's a museum piece. Is that the earliest cassette you think you have?
Yeah. That's from one of the very first. Discovery, yeah? This is the original drawing of the cassette. We started in the wrong direction. When you play an old recording on a new player, then you get nonsense.
See if I can find that cassette for you, because I know I have it around here somewhere. I lost the box and the J card of this particular cassette, but so I had to make a new one. And it says it's titled Extremely Old Tape. This is my first ever cassette. And I would make album tapes with this by putting the tape recorder up to my mother's speaker. I guess this will sound okay, and you hear cars going by, dogs barking. You know, I try and play it on the school bus the next day, and you're like, God, this sucks. So this is from like 1970 something. So this is tape 1.
Right goes on for an amazing 2.5 hours in time, and it's well known as a long
I still have a yellow waterproof Walkman. About 2 years ago, I was on a train. I was on the R train with my headphones listening, and nobody's paying me no mind. So I open up my cassette player, I flip the cassette, and it falls on the ground on the R train. It was like I defecated in the middle of the car. Everybody was like,
Are these like in the movies?
Do you know what that is used for?
Walkie-talkie? I have no idea what it is. Wait. It's a cassette player, right?
This is a ripoff because you want to listen, but you can't because you don't have any headphones. Hand over the headphones.
In the 1980s, it was like, whoa, it's something that can play music and I can carry it around if I have a large pocket. It works.
In '65, we went to Japan to demonstrate the cassette player. And Oga says, demonstrate your model, and then he turned up the volume, loud as possible. So then you could hear the hiss. Huh?
First hip-hop radio show is WHBI. People would record that, and then if your man wanted it, you were gonna get a double cassette recorder and go from one cassette to another cassette. And then now he has that, and he's like, yo, his man wants it. So now he's gonna take that second generation cassette and make a copy that sounds even worse. So by the time I got it, now I got like a 5th generation copy, and it's hissed out, you know, it's like a snake. It's stuck in my cassette.
I got the Craig G's, got the Cutmaster C's. I got a Craig G Sneaking Up on Your Ass, Part 1. Then I got a K-Slay, an action-packed mixtape. I mean, I got joints. Got joints. Got joints. Analog is just straight nasty. It's just, that's what it is. And that part I like of it. I can hear that all day. That digital sound, that clearness, and I can do without it. Yeah, I gotta do this. I got a 1988 mixtape. I gotta play this one. Oh. Wow, I got to rewind that, hold on.
Listening to sort of cassette tape music, it seems more relative in a way to the human condition. Because our bodies are not digital, we're not robots, and your body feels different every day, and it goes through changes, and it's, it gets worn down the more your body goes over that tape head of life.
You're here to do exactly. It's messy, it's sloppy, it's dirty. It's marked the way a human body is marked. By the space and time it passes through, it wears those scars and those scuffs, and that becomes part of why you love the tape.
When it gets weird and kind of stretched and you still want to hear it, as opposed to a skipping CD. You don't keep listening to a skipping CD, you throw it away.
You look thrilled.
In 1978, we decided that we would go on with the idea of an optical disc.
So you had no sentimental feelings about the cassette?
No, you should never hesitate to use the possibilities. That's in our souls. Hmm?
Yeah, CD is just the best thing that's happened to hi-fi for years. For the first time, people can sit at home and hear sound very close to the way we intended them to hear it.
In 1994, I think every kid in America got a CD player. I know that because we released Red Medicine, the Fugazi record. I think we decided to press 25,000. A year later, I had 14,000 Red Medicine cassettes sitting in a warehouse in Chicago. 14,000 cassettes not selling. Like CDs were selling like hotcakes and cassettes were over.
Digitization, if that's a word, very much cleaned up and sanitized the world of music. The warts and all aspect of music. Here comes the CD, and all of a sudden people say, well, CDs sound better because there's no clicks or pops or hiss.
When I spoke to Lou Ottens, I got the impression that, he's an engineer who spent his life trying to make the next thing. And again, make it better and easier and cheaper and smaller. And that he did that.
They went to CDs and then they got their flash drives and it just keeps moving on. And I read the article in Time about the cassettes, and the guy said that he was ready to move on. The one that invented them, and he invented the CD, so he was moving on from that.
What do you think they like about the cassette?
it's, yeah, it's kind of familiar to them. You can see what you have. On a USB stick, you can't say, well, that's you. No. A cassette, you have something in your hand. It's emotional.
I don't know if you can see this, but a buddy of mine, Joe Cole, was murdered years ago. These are his tapes, and this is his handwriting. And he's gone. But this is what he left behind. There's nothing digital about this. This was made in real time. And you don't throw this out. You take good care of it. Because someone took time out of their life that they can't get back to make that tape for you.
Probably the most boring thing you'll come across are commercial recordings that were issued on cassette. I would much rather uncover somebody putting on Star Wars in the backyard and recording it than maybe listen to an albeit wonderful LP of the Eagles or something.
You know, the fast, slow, fast, very good, the classical structure. Slow, fast, slow. Must have some deep psychological meaning. I can't think what it is.
Aaron Copeland, everyone.
This is my first attempt. It says various artists on it, because I was really trying. It's called Days Gone By in DC. See, that's like, it's already sentimental.
You know, if you said, do you remember the first time you heard the Violent Femmes? Yeah, it was in a mixtape that a friend gave me, you know? Do you remember the first time you heard the Butthole Surfers? Yeah, it was on a mixtape a friend gave me. I can't tell you how many countless bands, Black Flag, Minor Threat, Fat Boys, Houdini, all on a mixtape. That was all on a mixtape.
You'd get creative with your cover. You'd cut and paste, and you'd have your glue stick and you'd have your construction paper. You'd have all your photos or your whatever. Your heart would be racing if you're giving it to a girl that you like. Check this out, like hoping to win her over with my my pristine taste in music.
The mix CD for the girl you're trying to romance. The mix CD is like dry humping a Naugahyde couch. The mix tape, where you have sat there thinking all night, okay, if I can get this intro just right on the pause. I didn't get it. In fact, I ate the last 2 seconds of the last song, which means I gotta rewind the tape and grab that song again. It's 4 in the morning, I have to be up at 9, and I'm still making this mixtape because I really want this girl to like me. How do I know this? What, you think I read this somewhere? No, I lived those mixtapes, man. And so the cassette is one of those things that's very near and dear to me on so many levels you can't imagine.
The first audio letters I ever did, I would record them for, this girl I liked. And I would leave them. I'd hide them in places, like in her yard or whatever, and she'd have to go out and get them.
You have to be careful not to put songs that use the word love, because you want it to be, it's cool and it's like, I like you, but you don't want to be crazy. That's like a very careful balance you have to strike.
It starts with thinking of someone sitting next to the cassette player and maybe getting emotional, getting in a certain mood, and in that mood choosing the music that really made me think of him.
I love you. My brother loves you. The whole family loves you, okay?
I know you can hear this.
No matter what happens.
I just want to tell you that you look beautiful tonight, and I love you. And I'll be right back. Bye.
There's a power of sound that any recording captures, but a cassette, because it just has this personalized component. If someone gives you a cassette that they've made for you, and you have to take it seriously. You can't just throw it away.
I was listening to what you weren't saying. You're the oldest young person I've ever known. Makes me feel
She belongs to her mother and the state.
Just when I flip it off, and she practically says the whole rhyme by herself.
Did you say ich? Liebe?
When we still have one another, it meant a lot. Everything means a lot. Every little single thing.
You know, it's the potential. It is what is to be done. What, you know, here's the blank cassette. Here's the recording machine. It's in your hands. I like that. There isn't just one way to do it, one kind of music. People tell a bit about themselves by showing you what they listen to.
The people who use it nowadays, they are special people. They have a hobby. They love their cassettes. It's not really rational. It's a rather irrational activity. I like that.
What happens if and when this upswing stops?
Well, we've been asking ourselves that for the last 10 years. Being told you can't do this, it can't be done anymore. This product is obsolete, nobody wants it. And then coming here, coming to work every day, is an amazingly rewarding thing.
If this ended, then I'll find something else, but I like this. I wouldn't want to quit and go hunt another job right now. I'm just, you know, ride it out and see what happens.
People still have tape players. You know, they can go dust off their boombox or, you know, get in their car and drive around and listen to it, and it feels good.
We have records and tapes for sale out there if anybody's interested in that sort of thing.
We got through that period where tapes might have died. We're in an era now where your independent record shops, you'll feel very comfortable to walk in and say, oh, where's the tape stand? Where do I get the tapes from? I feel like that's here to stay.
I mean, I don't know what the future is for cassettes, but I'm not throwing mine away.
The stamping mill, the lever balance, sports car. You can do everything. A dumper truck. Pure nostalgia. With Meccano, we made not only these examples, but the idea was, of course, that you use the available material and you make your own design. That gets a habit. My whole life I have realized my hobbies. If you have a hobby, do it. The best source of happiness is doing what you like.
Start your own band!
And maybe that's why punk came around, because of things, you know, like the cassette experience. You could take things into your own hands. You could write your own story, paint your own picture, write your own poem, sing your own song. And you didn't have to be, you know, swimming in this. You could be Kano.
Before then, it was only the cassette. And if you did not get the mixtape, which began on cassette, then you were not hearing anything. You were not exposed to rap music. So no, it would be nowhere. It would be nowhere.
Where do you think I'd be without the cassette? Not here. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the cassette. Isn't that wild? Think about it.
100 years from now, and this is just my wet dream idea, maybe like some guy wants to, you know, hear the Dead Sea Scrolls of something, and like, and he'd go to this shelf and go like, Eureka! We have found it! And all of a sudden the door of the past opens. Someone's got to be that pain in the ass guy who goes like, I'll get a copy of that, and shelves and goes like, and so I'm that pain in the ass guy. This is no different than Train Spotting, but it's got a beat to it.
There's like hundreds of tapes just on my floor that, you know, like I will die before I have a chance to listen to them all again. But it prevents these moments from dying and keeps them alive for the future, if the future wants them.
Digital is just kind of like, it's a hi, how do you do? It's almost disingenuous. Like, here, take my CDR. You take my CDR.
I can't work or write or anything or focus when I'm listening to music digitally because I'm like, ooh, I should skip this song. Ooh, this song reminds me of another song I want to hear. I should make a new playlist just for the playlist that I'm listening to while I'm making the next playlist, you know? It's like cigarettes.
It's a selfie.
Who taught you about selfies?
Nobody. I just read it. It exists.
I should do it like every week. Just randomly drop a cassette on a train car. Actually, do me a favor, watch this documentary and then go on a train and drop a cassette by accident and see how people react.
Listen to the new Justin Timberlake record. Was only on cassette. Only. Man, you got an entire generation of young girls and young boys, more girls, going out and buying and looking for Walkmans or cassette players. That would be insane. Justin, if you're listening, you can make history.
It's got a speaker.
A speaker?
Uh-huh. It records audio. So.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Well, that's the end of this film. Signing off. This has been Eric's Films Production Company Incorporated.
13 goblins jump up and down, 13 witches yelling for some food, 13 giants yelling for some food, and 13 witches yelling for some food. 13 goblins messing up your head, 13 goblins messing up your bed, 13 goblins yelling.
Oh, wie so trügerisch sind Weiberherzen, mögen sie klagen, mögen sie scherzen. Oft spielt ein Lächeln ihre Züge, oft fließen Tränen, alles.
When Grammy was a little girl, my mommy used to sing me this little song so I could remember my 80s. A-B-C-D-E-F-G-H-I-J-K-L-M-N-O-P Q-R-S-T-U-V W and X-Y-Z. Now, could you do that with Grammy? Try it again. You sing with me this time, okay?